Hi everyone. We may have encountered some technical difficulties, some audio difficulties once again. So some of this episode may be unusable, but we'll see. I'll try to salvage this. And yeah, we're here to talk about Ned, and I love Ned, so hopefully it'll be fine. And this is the third episode of the Øutsiders podcast, so enjoy.
Okay, apparently nobody can hear SOPHIE. It's kind of awkward because I can hear her. Wait, SOPHIE, speak.
Hello.
That'll do.
You
can hear you. You're coming through the stream. Okay, well, it's working, so we should stop.
There we go. Thank you all for coming. We're here to talk about Ned and two men from Ohio.
Those two guys that might be married, that might be in an intimate relationship, we don't know.
I mean, we kind of do know, but they're trying to keep it a secret. Oh my god. They did a thing.
They did. The Ned thing. The
By
Fireplace.
the way,
that's what we're here to talk about.
I know they didn't make the songs in here. I think it's someone named Roland or something.
Roland.
They're so relaxing, and I had so much fun listening to them. I was at a restaurant yesterday. I get such bad anxiety from restaurants, and it just made me so peaceful.
That's good. I am a big fan of these songs.
Yeah.
I don't have much to say about it.
Oh, are you really?
I'm all focused on the video. I'm focused on the visuals.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think there's any lore in the music. It's just music. It's just, there's no point. We can appreciate that.
I wouldn't rule anything out, but yeah, probably not, because it's been long enough. Like when it first came out, I was like, oh my god, like I give it like an hour, maybe 2 hours, maybe 3 until someone finds the next clue, and maybe we'll get like a snippet of the new era. But now it's been long enough.
Someone said,
oh my god, the fall away version is so good. Oh my god.
The fall away one
it really has. It's got like little suspense chords in it. It's cool.
Yeah, and it caught me off guard a little bit. Like some of it like doesn't like follow the exact melody of the original song, but I like that.
And we think it's also interesting that they've included a self-titled song in the track list.
Can we talk about the track list?
You wouldn't expect it.
The track list is so suspicious. First of all, this whole thing is so suspicious.
It is.
I know that we know that there are some clues, and we're gonna go over those clues, but I feel like there is something more. There's something more than that, and we need to be looking for it.
Yeah, the order of the track list is actually really interesting as well. I tweeted about it because the thing is, there's 20 songs.
Mm-hmm.
They're in order of albums. So they start with self-titled. There's only one track from self-titled. Then Vessel. I think they skip regional.
Christmas Saves the Year, though. Why?
Oh yeah, but that's also another thing that kind of
ruins the order. Technical difficulties. The stream went off. It shut down.
I can hear you.
Well, my Wi-Fi just stopped working randomly.
Yeah, it's back. It's back.
I mean, that would have been a great time to bring the Be Right Back screen, so I'm just gonna... Just so we can feel like... Okay, we had the technical difficulties, and now we've fixed it. Oh, so you thought... Oh my god.
And you're just watching the stream on your
and I'm watching
screen.
The stream.
It's
watching
just going
through. Okay. We were talking about the track list and how weird it is.
Yeah, it is weird. It's like there's 20 songs, but they take an hour and how long is it? An hour and 5 minutes, I think, roughly.
An hour and 2. Well, supposedly.
I think it's an hour and 5 minutes. Maybe. Yeah, but that's a 3-minute song, 4-minute maybe. But it finished on the timestamp of 1 hour, 5 minutes and 50 seconds or something like that.
No, it's 1 hour.
Around that time.
1 hour, 2 minutes and 48 seconds.
Isn't that when the song starts?
Hold on. Oh, yeah. No, you're right.
I mean, when it finishes.
That's when it starts. Yeah, you're right. I got confused.
And then what's really interesting is that this track list plays 9 times. 9 loops it plays. It's very
Are you sure, though?
Very interesting. Positive, yeah. Okay. It's an hour-long playlist. If you times that by 9, it's 9 hours, and then it's longer than that. So it's more like an hour and 5 minutes. So then you add the 5 times 9. So it's like 9 hours and 45 minutes, and then there's like little bits in between, gaps.
Everything is intentional.
But the number 9 is especially key. Yeah, we were saying how the songs are mostly tracklist order because I've got it written down, but I don't have it in my brain. But it's weird because it starts with Christmas Saves the Year. Lore-wise, I'm not sure where that fits in. I'm not sure whether it fits in.
If we're just thinking of it not lore-wise, maybe because it's almost Christmas, they would.
Yeah, that would
Christmas
make sense
Saves
because
the
it's his little Christmas. It's his Christmas fireplace thing. You know, that's kind of the point of
But
it.
the thing
But
is,
yeah, it
in
breaks
21
the
Pilots
mythology.
lore stuff, there's always two meanings. One is like, oh, this doesn't mean anything. And the other one is like,
exactly.
this is exactly what it means. So it could be that they put Christmas Saves the Year because Christmas is almost here, but it could also mean that, like, simultaneously, it could mean that, you know, something else.
And besides, there's the fact that it's Ned in his cabin. Obviously, you've got like the Santa Claus type figure in his cabin in Christmas Saves the Year, and Ned is in Christmas Saves the Year. But I'm just thinking like there's similarities. You know, there's a gas mask in both cabins.
Wait, you know what?
Yeah.
If we're gonna talk about the Christmas Saves the Year similarities, like it feels like that video is like the Santa person is supposed to represent Tyler, right? And like and here Ned is like a version of Tyler. I'm hesitant to say, but there are influences from Tyler's life in here.
I think the fact that, and it goes on to the thing I said about May 17th, when at 5 hours 17 minutes, Tyler appears on the screen and Ned also wakes up at that exact time. I know that Ned wakes up multiple times, but specifically when he wakes up at 5 hours 17 minutes, Tyler comes on the screen and he's in his studio, which makes us think that there's something to do with that timestamp.
Oh yeah, I definitely think that the 517 theory is the most solid theory so far that we have.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And when you're, like you said, when Ned drinks the chlorine from the cup, it's symbolizing that Tyler's creating. He's in a studio, he's creating new stuff because Ned is his creativity. So he drinks during 3 different songs, I think. It was Heathens, Stressed Out, and Chlorine. I don't know if that means anything.
Oh, yeah. I think he drinks in Christmas Saves the Year, actually. Let me look at my notes.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if there's a pattern to it or if it's just randomized, but that's when he drinks it.
It is interesting that in the chlorine video, he like refuses to drink the chlorine. And now that he finally does, it's like it could represent like Tyler's in a creative headspace or, you know, something's going on. Someone
said, it's so crazy that Fall Away was made into a chill song and Jumpsuit. I had long wondered what it would sound like as a chill song. I agree, 100%. Like, I never would have thought that they would have some content relating to Fall Away in the year 2023.
Yeah.
And it really is like a massive contrast from everything. Like they've got these hardcore-ish rock songs.
Put out Glowing Eyes in what it was 2023, the Vessel live stream.
Wait, did they?
Well, yeah. I mean, in the form of a vinyl. That was crazy.
Oh yeah, that is crazy.
I mean, Glowing Eyes and like a few other bonus tracks.
Was it the UK bonus tracks edition version?
Yeah, I think so. And the LC live versions.
Oh yeah, that's the version I listened to.
Ned does drink from the cup in Christmas Saves the Year, if anyone's wondering.
Okay, so there could be a pattern to it, or there could not. We don't know.
Here's the thing.
There is. We haven't figured it out.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
There are a bunch of little clues in here.
I'm listening.
That we can see. That probably, like, maybe there's, like, one more clue that hasn't been figured out yet, but most of them have been figured out, I feel like. But,
yeah.
Other than those little clues that we'll get into, like the pictures and the chlorine headphones and the cup and everything. If there was something more, like something that has to do with like a code or like something that we had to figure out, something that takes time, something that like it's not that obvious,
like a website or
that could lead us to the next cycle, and that's what I'm excited about because I don't think that's far off at all. And I think
although
that we should
if the
look
May
into
17th,
this.
if the May 17th theory is true, I don't think there would necessarily be available content yet, but there might be part of like the next cycle or like story stuff.
Yeah, the clues should
stuff.
be sooner. I'm not talking about the next single, but
no,
there should be like
it's not going to be like Scaled and Icy posters that were just like Scaled and Icy May 21st.
Yeah,
it's not going to be like that.
Here's the thing:
I agree with you.
This could be the clue that we were looking for. Like, oh yeah, the Keon's letter, the whole thing that we're gonna get into. This could be all it is. Like, that's the clue, and then we're gonna get the next single when it comes. But I don't think that's the case. I really hope there's something more.
It's like a miniature DMA website update, because obviously it's just like a tiny letter, hardly any words in it, but it's giving us a little bit of insight, like how the letters on DMA.org were about the music videos. Like you've got about the outside, you've got the live stream, you've got the jumpsuit music video. This letter is correlating to the outside because of he's talking about the torchbearer and Clancy, and obviously in the outside music video, Tyler and Josh being the torchbearer, Tyler presumably taking on the persona of Clancy, or whatever it is, however it works that he's Clancy in this video. They're on the island with all the Neds, and they've got some plan going on. They're corresponding with Keon's, there's a lot to get into with that.
Okay, so I feel like we're getting ahead of ourselves just a little bit.
Are we? Is it not what we're here to talk about?
That's it. That's the thing. I'm always not sure how far ahead I want to go, because we're how a conversation works is that we're going back and forth constantly, right? Like we're going to the letter, then we're going to the cup, and then I don't know.
That's called ADHD free.
I mean, is that helpful though? Like, should
It's
we
not very informative, I'll give you that. Yeah. So where do you want to start then?
I feel like we should do like a quick recap. And then, just go through all the clues real quick. Maybe I missed some, because honestly, I didn't have enough time to do this presentation. I'm not sure.
May 17th is far. Sorry, I'm reading the comment. May 17th is 6 months away. Like,
that's not
just
that far.
under.
That's not.
No,
that
it
far.
makes sense, and
It
I'd be
makes
happy with
perfect
that,
sense.
because I don't want to tour too soon because I need money.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of May 17th, I feel like it's a very feasible time. But we would have singles before then. The cycle would probably start around March, April.
Yeah. So, obviously, there's the explosive material thing.
Yep.
Ned deals with explosives
Canister.
now.
I'm wondering what could have been in there, though.
I mean, people have been saying that it could be like the big chlorine tank. Hold on, let me go to that slide.
Maybe. But I think it doesn't look like it's the same shape as the chlorine tank in the music video.
I have like the big
It's
one.
It's not as big as the one they were rolling down the street.
Yeah.
Because it's too, thin.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It's definitely, look at how huge that is. That is like 17 Neds.
Yeah. But also the what do you call it? The chlorine. See, those tanks there, the plastic ones, those are definitely in his fireplace area.
Yeah, these are there. Like, the thing is, what confused me is there are a few types of like these things, but these are definitely there. And I think I've seen like one of these. This I'm not sure.
I think there's even a jerry can behind Ned. Which makes me wonder, like, if you look in the background, there's a jerry can. You know where the window is. It just makes me wonder, the jerry can, maybe it's like gasoline, like oil.
Gasoline? That's interesting. Especially
because there's obviously
what?
Yeah, because obviously there's gasoline mentioned in Forest. Like, for some reason I smell gas on my hands. We know that it creates
is a very
fire,
big thing,
and it's explosive, and it travels around in canisters. So I'm just saying it could be that it's something like that. It kind of looks like an oil tank, but it's just so hard to tell because it just says warning explosive material, and then it's cut out.
Can you look at the stream for a second?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I can see it there.
We have this type of tank. These confuse me. I think that's just what the tank looks like when it's open. Because I didn't know what this thing was. I thought it looked like a key or something, but I think it's just a chlorine tank.
Yeah, I think it is just... There's like a bunch of different types of tanks.
And I think there's a tank over here, which it's pretty dark, but when you like... over here as well. Wait, over here.
Yeah, the one that the stream is a little bit behind, so.
Okay.
But yeah, that one that you pointed out on the right is the jerry can.
Okay.
That's usually what you fill with oil, gasoline.
It feels like there are letters in here. I don't know how good of a quality the stream is, but yeah, it looks fine. That's also the thing, because there are like a few things with like weird texture on them and like scratches that could look like letters, but it's probably nothing.
Yeah, I mean, those marks on that can, I'm pretty sure those are just on every jerry can, like it's just how they are.
But what is this though? I put this in the presentation.
Yeah, that confused me. It's so hard to tell whether it's scratches or
It looks like
writing.
There's somebody that's like either trying to get in or get out, like an animal that just like took their fingernails and just
something scratched to that. Oh, by the way,
scratchy.
someone said, where does it say explosive material?
In the
The
fireplace.
canister that the fireplace is in. It says it kind of on the right, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
cut off a little bit, but you can see that it says it. I guess another clue that would be interesting to talk about. I mean, the speakers.
I mean, they're the second clue, so that's perfect.
Okay, that's good then. Yeah. So we've got these speakers, and at first, the initial thought is, are those the speakers that Tyler has in his studio?
Right.
But they're not. He doesn't have yellow speakers.
I mean,
Whereas we have
he
the
has,
headphones
he has
with the yellow
similar
tape.
speakers, but they're definitely not yellow.
Yeah, right. And it looks exactly like the eyes of a character who's being seized. That's exactly how their eyes glow. And the way that the open fire is placed, it's almost like a mouth. And it kind of just reminds me of Trash the Dragon.
That's interesting.
Someone said one of the marks was the laneboy pattern. Yeah, that was on the side of the vinyl.
Yeah,
the
put
record
that.
player.
I put that in the presentation, so we'll go over that. Yeah,
I mean,
the thing is, a lot of Ned's home, I guess, now that we've seen his house, is obviously it has like bits and details from Tyler's life. So it will make sense that the speakers would be Tyler's speakers, and like there's a mic to record songs, which I don't believe Ned is like thinking of putting out an album anytime soon.
Yeah, no, I don't know why he's got all this stuff in his cabin. Is it because
I do
Tyler
know why.
visits?
Listen.
Wait, why?
The whole concept that I've been trying to explain is that Ned is an extension of Tyler, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I don't see why
I know that
Tyler Ned.
Yeah, I know that they are different characters. I'm not trying to say that as a character, Ned is exactly Tyler. What I am trying to say is because all of the characters in the story live in Tyler's brain. Not only are they all connected, but it's like Ned is a manifestation of a certain part in Tyler's brain, right? And that's what he is. But all of these other things...
He's a metaphor.
Yeah, all of these other things that are from Tyler's life are there because that's Tyler's brain. That's where he lives. You know, like that's God, I wish I could explain it better. Maybe if we'll get like further into the live stream, I'll manage to explain it.
But yeah, the thing is, even if he's a different person, even if he's a different character, I mean, even if he's connected and they're all technically manifestations of Tyler, he's still a separate character. So I don't see why he, as a character, would have all this kind of equipment in a little wooden cabin with a fireplace.
I mean,
unless he's somehow creating.
First of all, Ned is that part in Tyler's brain that's creating. Ned is creating.
Yeah.
He helps Tyler create. That's his like purpose, but I guess his purpose was more to like embody the creative process. Tyler talks about in Chlorine about like a certain like duality, like a love-hate relationship basically. And Ned is a perfect example of that because like he's tiny and cute and he has fur, but he also has really strange big black eyes and
he does, and they're almost eerie.
Horns that are associated with like the devil or something bad, but then those horns become antlers, and antlers are associated with like a deer or something that's like pure and good. Like, do you get what I'm saying?
Definitely a creature.
He's trying to be two things at the same time, and
no, I know what you mean.
And why would Ned have all this stuff that Tyler has? Is because Tyler's is...
It's almost like he's got things that have inspired Tyler, like all the books on the bookshelf. We could assume that they link to the Cancer the Cancer lyric video. Sorry, keep calling it music video. But obviously there's books floating around in that video. Because there's a lot of books floating around in that video, but you notice that there's specific titles standing out, and there's specific books that have, presumably Tyler's read them all, and they've had influences on the story. And we know that some of them have had influences on the story.
Absolutely.
Because obviously there's George Orwell's 1984. There's The Outsiders, which literally the premise of the My Blood music video follows the story of that book. So I feel like even though you can't see what the titles of these books are, you can assume it's the same.
Yeah.
I was just saying, even though you can't see them, you can assume that it's the same kind of books or the same concept.
Like, I've been trying to look at the covers and see if they're similar, and I couldn't find any that were really similar. But you can definitely assume that they're the same or they're serving the same purpose. I do think the books are significant. And also the Cancer music video is crazy. Like, that's a whole topic to get into. Because not only are like so many examples of books that correlate to the story. Think about like this that video was posted in 2016, and there are books about like architecture and like things that will only be relevant later on. There's like someone playing chess to like, that's a clever way of like saying like a bishop, right? Of like portraying a bishop.
Yeah, oh my god, I hadn't thought about it that way. Yeah, there's bishops in chess.
Yeah, like all that.
That's
stuff,
crazy.
like that whole video is so fascinating to me.
It is.
But yeah, also there's like this thing in here that looks like a window next to the bookshelf, and if I'll just go to the slide of the Cancer music video, like it looks really similar. There we go. It does look like it's inspired by the Cancer music video a little bit.
You're right, yeah, those bookshelves do look really similar. Like, it's the way they're slanting, and there's a window. It's not the same window, but it's definitely like giving similarities.
Yeah.
I would assume that they're supposed to be the same kind of concept where they're books that have inspired Tyler, because it's in his recording space, even if it's not his studio. This place that Ned is has a 21 Pilots vinyl playing, and it's got like a computer, and it's got like pictures and stuff around that would kind of make sense to be Tyler's. Someone said, "No one told me my blood was based on the Outsiders." I love that book. Yeah, so essentially, I realised that through Wikipedia, because
yeah,
I didn't realise it was like a
we were both
like
reading
a fully
that at the same
solidified
time.
fact.
Why were we reading the Wikipedia page of my blood? Oh, I think that I called you.
We were
and
analysing the video.
Yeah, we were trying to analyze the video, and then we looked it up on Wikipedia and we found that.
Yeah, it's the concept with the brothers, I think, is from the book. I've not read the book. I plan to, but
I plan to as well.
And
we haven't read it yet.
And not to mention that the Cancer like lyric video, the Outsiders book is actually floating around, and it's on the shelf, and you can see it there multiple times. It's supposedly in Tyler's library of books that he reads or has read. I don't see why else it would be there.
Yeah, and all of the books that are there are like in some way influential to the story.
Yeah.
So
1984, Thought Crime, the whole thing about surveillance around a city and being dictated, you know, it's all things that have inspired Tyler. And the Outsiders is one of them.
1984 is really crazy because I'm reading it right now, and like the whole concept of Dema, it seems that 1984 was really a big inspiration for the way that Tyler built that city. Like obviously he took
even down to the fact that the architecture, the way he's designed this city is something with a quote wonderful structure to keep people occupied and to keep them controlled.
The surveillance, right? In 1984 he mentions like helicopters, surveillance, and like obviously through the TV that they have there, the teleprompter. And in Trench there's
obviously
the vultures.
They don't have helicopters, they have vultures.
Exactly.
But there was even like in the Cancer lyric video, there was even a book on architecture which we've briefly kind of searched up. We haven't read.
There were a couple books on architecture, which is really interesting.
It's not like he's just read a book and decided to recycle concepts. He's taken elements from different books and put them all into the lore and created an entire world out of it, out of influences.
And it definitely doesnn't end in that. It's not just those books. It's not just the, Zoroastrianism religion. It's just so many things that he took inspiration from to create the story that was his. But he just needed like hope to make it more real, I guess.
Mm-hmm. What have you got next as a clue in the PowerPoint?
Well, we're not going through the order, so I'm gonna go back to where we were.
Well, no, that's true. I guess I wanted to talk about the toys on the shelves a little bit. I don't have a huge amount to say about it, but I just wanted to mention that obviously we know those are figurines from the claymation video for Christmas Saves the Year, and we know that they could technically be toys because they're made of clay. But the fact that there's toys on a shelf just really reminds me of the Choker music video, and the fact that Josh has the ability to change people and characters into toys, or supposedly he has that ability because he did it.
I mean,
so I think it's just an interesting...
How do you think that would play into this world of Ned, though?
I'm not sure. It just is definitely a correlation I drew, though, because when he turns Tyler into one, he's quite clearly made out of, like, I don't know if it's clay, but it doesn't just look like plastic. He looks a bit clayish.
I mean, I don't think
it's almost clay. Like the whole thing about molding.
Yeah.
Well, no, but I don't know what it is, but it's a textured material. I don't know. But it's just like, I thought it was interesting because it's something to think about or have in your mind when you're like considering all the different elements.
Yeah. definitely.
Not the same about the Funko. I feel like the Funko is just product placement.
I mean, I feel like those are things that Tyler would have just lying around. Not necessarily in his studio, because it's not a perfect recreation of the studio. It's not supposed to be. But yeah, definitely things from Tyler's brain that like correlate. Let's just go through to where we were. Let's talk about the lane boy pattern a little bit. Also, it's kind of symbolic that there's like
the side of the record player that's playing the vinyl.
Yeah, it's kind of symbolic that there's the Scaled and Icy logo of 21 Pilots, but then it's covered with yellow tape. Like,
oh yeah,
kind of merging those two eras.
And it's playing
Trench.
Yeah, and it's playing a vinyl that has the Trench logo on it with the two double bars. That is definitely a mixture of eras going on there, and it's pink as well. It's got, or it could be red. It's hard to tell in the light, but it's got Lane Boy, aka Blurry Face pattern. It's the color of Blurry Face / Scaled and Icy if it's pink.
Have we
It's got the Scaled and Icy logo, and then it's got Trench.
Why there would be a Lane Boy pattern in there?
Not yet. Do you know?
No, I'm asking you. Like, it's something to think about. Why Lane Boy specifically?
Yeah, I don't know. But it's the fact that it's got all the eras merged into this vinyl, because it's Lane Boy as Blurry Face, the yellow tape is Bandy, Trench even, and then the logo is Scaled and Icy.
That could be it. Just like merging all of the eras. That could be an explanation.
Yeah. But why would they do that in this form and in this specific way? I'm just searching up the Lane Boy lyrics. I know it's probably not going to tell me anything for this, but
I mean, when I think about Lane Boy, we've talked about like the idea of submission, and like I specifically, I always think about the poem, like, why do I kneel to these concepts, tempted by control, controlled by temptation, stay low, they say, stay low. But I'm not sure that
you know, is there a bishop for Lane Boy?
Yeah, Vetimo.
Okay, that's interesting. We don't know much about the bishops outside of Nico and Keon.
I mean, the whole concept of submission is something that's apparent like in all of the bishops. I mean, it is apparent in like Nico and Keon's are the ones that I think about, because those are really the only ones that we know stuff about.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen evidence of Sakava and Lisden through Sally and Dan, but we don't even know if that was who was teasing them. They could have just been using the names as propaganda.
It was like their names are Sakarver and Lisden, so those were their names, and like Sally and Dan were people who died in Dema, so that's where that came from.
Available vessels.
Yeah,
probably citizens of Dema that were forced to commit to vialism and then became available vessels to use to seize for the good of the bishops. Well, the use of the bishops. Yeah. It's difficult with the other bishops because we really don't know much about them. I mean, there's people have come up with interpretations of them.
Yeah, obviously we have the songs, which are the biggest clue. I mean, the thing about the songs is
we know Lane Boy is about comfort zones and
I mean, it's very like
submitting.
Each person can interpret what they understand from the songs, and like each interpretation can be a bit different. But we do know, let's say each bishop represents a certain insecurity or a certain fear or something like that. Then that's what we know about each bishop.
I mean, if we were to go off of Lane Boy,
and I think the stream stopped as well, but it's back on now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I was literally just saying that I wouldn't necessarily know what insecurity Vetimo would represent based on Lane Boy, but obviously there's the whole thing about not submitting to what's normal and what's mainstream and trying to be yourself and whether people will approve of that.
Yeah.
So I guess approval could be an element of it. I don't think this is going to tell us anything about the vinyl having the pattern in the cabin.
Yeah, no, I think we were just going on a side tangent. But also, I had this theory that what we do know about the bishops that we don't know a lot about is each bishop has a corresponding tower in Dema, right? And each tower is a different height, which has to be intentional because they definitely could have all been the same height, and it would have been normal. But for some reason, Tyler and Josh decided to make them like each tower has a different height. I'm having trouble.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel like we need to understand more about Tyler's perspective on like what he's read about architecture and why he would have made that creative decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so one theory goes is that, you know, the height of each tower directly corresponds to how powerful that bishop is and how much of a control he has of Tyler. Because if we actually look at the Dema towers, which I don't have right here, but in any case, Breeze Joe is always the tallest tower, not Nico, Ristro, which is interesting because we don't know a lot about Ristro. But it's also the first song that mentioned the bishops. It's doubt, by the way.
Temperatures dropping.
Temperature is dropping. We talked about reoccurring themes, and like the theme of being cold is a huge one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I just couldn't think of what to say about it.
Mm-hmm.
But while we're on the concept of maps and mapping and like the city and all that, we should probably also mention the jumpsuit medallion on the side of that box.
Okay, let's go through the presentation because I feel like we keep ignoring it. So let's go through it like really quickly. We have a letter from Ned to Ned. Apparently Ned's can speak now.
Okay, so we're talking about this then.
Yeah, we'll talk about it like in order, unless that happens to be the order that the presentation is in. Okay.
Yeah, so the thing with the letter is that it's a bit awkward because I feel like people were immediately looking for clues in the missing letters, but it's just a bit ambiguous because it doesn't necessarily say a date because Clancy, you haven't written it in the slideshow,
yeah,
but
no, I'm fixing it now because you brought up a really good point that there's no A in that.
Yeah.
So it's
it
more
just
like
says Clancy.
Wait, are we sure?
Yeah.
It's CLNCY. I mean, the thing
There's
is,
AADATE missing.
the thing is, there have been a few times, and in Clancy letters and stuff like that, includes that Tyler has like purposely like missed letters to try and tell us something else, or just like for some reason that's still unknown. Like in some Clancy letters, there's like grammatical errors that there's no explanation for. Like I think in the first one, there's like he was supposed to say inhabitants of his region, but he said inhabitants his region, or like inhabiting his region, but he just said inhabitants his region. So like there was no explanation for that.
Yeah, but the thing is, when there's
something else to bring up is that Blurryface also has a very specific way of speaking, and he often misspells stuff on purpose.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It feels more Blurryface coded rather than there being a message. Like when Clancy hides messages in his letters, you know that they're there. They're spelled out perfectly. There's never any mistakes or ambiguity to it. It's always clear that there's a message there. Whereas this is too ambiguous. Like the word the word said is spelled wrong.
I think that the purpose of this letter being misspelled is just to show that Ned is like a child. Like we
doesn't have perfect grammar. Yeah, exactly.
We didn't expect Ned to be able to read and write, so it wouldn't make sense for Ned to be writing like this. It's just silly.
Yeah, someone said they feel like it's just that Ned is bad at writing. I would have to agree. Like I was, doing what everyone was doing, at least trying to see if there was anything there. No, but when it wasn't obvious, I thought it's not there. It's not got a clue.
We just talked about like 21 Pilots lore hints usually have like a couple of different meanings. So it could be because Ned is like a child. It could be also at the same time that there is a clue hidden in here. I mean, because it's very intentional, so Tyler would obviously think about that.
I feel like if we were going to look at it in terms of the letters missing, we'd also have to take into account the fact that he's done some lowercase and some uppercase.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like it's just showing his youth and his lack of...
I put that in the presentation. I'm just now noticing. So like torch, there's like a capital T. Where is it? Yeah, capital T.
Yeah.
But then...
there's also a capital R.
Yeah, capital R, but then another... No, that's a C actually.
Yeah, I always think the C is a lowercase R. It confused me a lot. But yeah, it's confusing that.
I mean,
I don't know why they've done it. I think it's just Ned being a child.
Ned is definitely... he would have the brain capacity of a toddler. But that doesn't mean that he can't do the same stuff that Tyler does.
No, it makes you wonder if the way he can speak English is through Tyler's kind of telekinesis.
Tyler's is subconscious.
Yeah, Tyler's
Absolutely.
Connection to him.
Yeah, that's how he can speak. That's how he can play the bass. That's how he can do all of that. Like, he lives in Tyler's brain, and he was created from Tyler's brain. Like, I'm not just
he's
talking
literally
about...
just Tyler's imagination.
Yeah, I'm not just talking about Tyler, like, literally creating him. Like, that's what he is, essentially. He represents a part of his brain. He literally stands for neurological expansion device.
Okay, that's good.
I don't know what's going on with my internet and everything. I'm really sorry. We'll just have to get through this. We were talking about Ned's connection to Tyler through his brain.
Telekinetic connection. Neurological connection.
Neurological connection.
He's an expansion of Tyler's brain. He's not a person. He is a character, but he mostly exists as a metaphor.
Yeah, but
for like that area of Tyler's brain.
I think that the same logic that we applied to Ned can be applied to every single character in this story. Because because the way I described it, it's like when you're in a dream state and you're seeing someone that you know in real life, then that person that you're seeing, he does actually exist. He is different than you. He's not you. He's a different character.
Yeah.
But what you're seeing is a product of your brain, of your subconscious. And it's just what you're projecting onto that person. Like how you view that person is what they're going to be.
Yeah, it's how you perceive them.
Yeah, and the whole Dema story does feel like it happens in Tyler's subconscious, and it feels like a dream sometimes, and it can take, like, I feel like the story itself can occur in different ways. Like, it can occur in, like, the Dema story, but it can also occur in, like, what we've seen in the Chlorine music video, which is not exactly the same universe, but it's the same concept and the same ideas. And the Hive and Choker. In the Choker music video, Tyler's not in the same world that Clancy is in, but he's telling the same story. I feel like Choker has a lot of foreshadowing about what's going to happen, and it's just a different way of explaining the story. Just like the live stream was a way of explaining the story.
I think that this letter is really, again, like I said with the Clancy letters, it's giving us someone's perspective.
Yeah, I think there are two main things that we can gather from this and that they intended us to, like, figure out, and one of them is that Keon's betrayed the bishops, which we already assumed, but we didn't know for sure, like, absolutely. So now we have proof.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, like, how much of this plan was Keon's idea.
Yeah.
Like, they said that Keon's fed that Ned would see the Torchbearer and Clancy. Like, Keon's knew that was going to happen, and it begs the question, when Keon's is seizing the dragon in the not the Saturday music video. Well, yeah, he is seizing it within that video, I would assume. But when he's seizing the dragon in the beginning of the Outside, and the other bishops will come and, like, sacrifice him, it makes you wonder whether that was intentional, whether he needed to make himself an available vessel, whether that was all part of the plan, because obviously we know that Keon's is working as a double agent.
I mean, definitely. I think that the minute that Keon's decided to side with the Banditos instead of the bishops, he knew that he was going to die.
Yeah, and it's like the Neds are corresponding with Keon's. Like, Keon's knows the Neds personally, because if he warned them that Clancy and the Torchbearer were coming, that means he's been corresponding with them.
I mean, the only way that I can see a connection between Keon's and the Neds is their antlers, because that's the thing that the bishops do. They seize people using the antlers, and that's the only connection that we've really seen from, like, Ned to that Dema world. So the
Neds obviously have some kind of trust with Keon's, which is interesting. Like, they're buddies.
They're buddies. I mean,
but they really genuinely might be.
I think I haven't watched the full space that Shai did, but I do remember in one point that they were talking about how the seizing ability, how it could not just be a person seizing another person and, like, bringing that person to life. Like, it could be them communicating, which would make sense.
Someone said, I feel like there's some connection between the bishops promoting vialism and Keon's deciding the best way to help was by dying. Yeah, see, that's the interesting thing, is that the bishops glorify those people who commit to vialism, those people who are dead. They see their dead bodies as available vessels to possess and use for whatever it is they want to use them for. But the Banditos might supposedly need to seize vessels themselves in order to stop the bishop's plan, or whatever it is that they're planning on doing. They might need to be able to seize Keon's in order to, I don't know what it is they have planned.
Wait, but yeah, only
it's
the
definitely
bishops
interesting.
Seize. Only the bishops can seize, and
and Tyler.
And Tyler, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah. Like, only the bishops can seize, and from what we've seen, Tyler is the only person in that story that can, like, bypass that.
Yeah, it just makes you wonder why Keon's needs to be dead. Like, he needs to be seized. Is it because Tyler can seize trash through Keon's? Because we know that supposedly Tyler can see from the perspectives of different characters. We've heard it in DMA He says, oh god, I don't have the letter memorized.
I would have the Blood Red Vision, my dreams of flying, the out-of-body account of the Rider in the River, the decaying host of the television show, the robot figures that commanded the doomed ship, all that.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. He's saying that it's all starting to make sense, that he can see from different perspectives. Supposedly when he's asleep or when he's dreaming or he's hallucinating, he can see from the perspectives of these other characters because they're a part of him. But the fact that if he can seize other characters, but maybe he can't just seize trash, because I feel like you need some kind of connection to the character you're seizing. Maybe he can seize trash through Keon's because Keon's can seize trash. So maybe it's kind of like a chain reaction.
I really, really feel like Tyler's connection to all the characters in the story, and the fact that this is all happening in his brain, is going to be a huge thing in the next chapter. I feel like oftentimes we look at the story, right, and we look at the characters, but we're not looking at the bigger picture. And And
No.
the live stream experience was a great example of that, because in the posters, like, you could literally see their brains cut in half and like the whole thing happening
Yeah.
inside. So
But
I think there's gonna
another
be like a
thing-
zoom out moment where you're going to realize what's actually going on. Like in the Shy
Yeah,
Away music
definitely.
video, when there are like shots of them playing music and it's all colorful and there's trash in the background and everything. And then there are shots where they're just like by
Yeah.
themselves.
Well, we'll be doing a whole episode on the live stream. Maybe we should
Yeah.
do that soon, because I feel like we have a lot to say on that. I was also going to say that the fact that Keon's was sacrificed while seizing Trash could be for a reason. It could be that he's now connected to Trash in some way because he died while possessing him. So maybe if you possess Keon's, you possess Trash or
I mean,
something along those lines.
if we're going off the theory that Trash is going to be seized again in the next chapter and he's going to be destroying the city of Dema.
That's the theory we essentially have been talking about a lot.
So he would have to be seized again for that to happen. There would have to be like a way of seizing him. I mean, the only person that can seize him is either one of the bishops, which probably isn't going to happen because Trash is supposedly the one that's supposed to save the banditos and everyone else, or Tyler. So
yeah, exactly. I feel like it's more likely to be Tyler.
no, absolutely. I was just saying, like,
Yeah,
how would that
no,
be
I know.
possible of like Trash being seized again?
But yeah, what's after the letter in the presentation?
The Macintosh computer from the lyric video of Level of Concern. It is interesting that Ned can type. But again, it goes...
There's no space for the keyboard on the desk, and it's just kind of on the floor.
It's on the floor. I wonder why that is.
Is the bandito, like, vulture symbol on the side of the canister? You know, the explosive materials canister?
It could be. I don't know if I had the time to put that in there, but it definitely could be.
But yeah, in terms of the keyboard on the floor, I think it's interesting how everything looks kind of haphazard, as if it's been pushed off the desk to make space for something else.
I just want to show, like, if you're watching the stream, this is where we're talking about the, like, bandito symbol, I guess.
I was looking on the right of it. Like, move over to the right of it.
Oh, this thing. Oh, yeah. This
it's like dark grey.
This totally looks like a wing.
Yeah, someone said the vulture's on the side, but it's mirrored.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned that the photos can be mirrored, the drawings. Sorry.
Yeah, there's the drawings on the wall, the neon gravestones from the bandito tour visuals. Those are mirrored as well. Everything's mirrored. That has to mean something.
Yeah, I'll go to...
Because it's all kind of...
Well, I'm not...
Yeah, because that's supposed to be the logo, but it's the other way around.
I don't know, maybe like creating the 3D...
Yeah, the mountains flipped.
Yeah. Maybe in creating the 3D space and everything, they had to like flip it. I don't know. Like,
it's a decision they've made. They wouldn't do that by accident or by chance. And I'm sure they wouldn't not notice that they'd done it.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's a possibility. No, but...
Yeah, I think
it is pretty obvious. Like, I see what you mean.
Does that mean Ned wrote backwards then if everything else is flipped?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I tried looking at it from a new perspective. I didn't mean to say that like the lyrics. I tried looking at it from a new perspective. Like I tried flipping it around and looking at it back to front, but I haven't tried flipping any images.
Do you want us to do this right now? Like maybe I'll flip it on my phone. And
I'm just having a look. I've got it flipped on my phone. Ned, I don't know how you would read it though.
I mean, Ned's vision is kind of weird. Ned's vision is, we can see it in the Chlorine music video. It's kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like if you're watching a 3D movie without glasses is the best way I could describe it. Like, do you know what I'm talking about? Like in the Chlorine video, we see his perspective and he has like weird vision.
Yeah, he does. He has like, it's almost like beer goggles. It's like when you look through those goggles that are supposed to show you a drunk person's perspective. How it's kind of like blurry and a little bit fuzzy, and he sees, maybe he's sensitive to light.
Yeah, also, this is a really random thing to bring up, but in the Bandito Spotify experience, the one where we see all of the symbols and what they mean, if you look at the full thing, you can see like from the perspective of a vulture, if I'm not wrong. I haven't watched that in a while, but yeah, and it's like you can see things from the vision of a vulture, which is also interesting. Like to think about how each character in the story has a specific sort of vision, and like when Nico sees Tyler, his eyes are red and his vision is red.
Yeah.
So like there's a reason why each character sees the way that they do. It's just, I wonder what's Tyler's explanation for that, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to flip this image around, but it's not really giving me much, apart from the fact that if you flip it upside down, it's still going to say Ned on both sides because it's to Ned from Ned. Ned backwards is Den.
I mean, I don't think it will be that simple. Otherwise, we would notice
No.
it. I think if there is something to see when it's flipped, then we'd have to really look for it. My whole thing was, let's look for another violation code, right? Because the way this whole thing started and the way we discovered the Clancy website was there was a missing link, right? There was like the DMA.org and then /found/something and then /clancy.html, and then you put the violation code in there, and that's how you got the website, the real website with all the letters. So it would make sense for us to look for a new violation code that would lead us to another website, possibly. I don't know. Maybe that's wishful thinking.
153986642.
_14. I don't know.
These Keons.
Oh,
He did.
Yeah. Oh, you know what's interesting? Keon's is probably the one that submitted these pictures. Like the ones that you're talking about.
Sees?
The ones that say sees Keon's. I mean, first of all, there's the Dema stamp on them.
Yeah.
Which Clancy couldn't have
So
done.
it's paper that he's used.
And it's like Keon's built this entire, like, he built their escape plan based on him dying. Like, he knew he was going to die. He was going to sacrifice himself.
In the DMA.org thing, if you think about, you know that thread? Who was it? Was it Joey's thread that said Keon's was the one who was checking on what Tyler was writing for the scaled nicey writing process?
That's mentioned in
It was
Clancy's
Keon's
letters.
who was verifying.
Yeah.
Right, so any clues that Tyler wanted to hide, he would have been able to do that more easily with Keon's keeping an eye on him as opposed to the other bishops.
Exactly.
So that would be how things got through.
Keon's was possibly siding with Clancy/Tyler when the live stream happened, or when he was writing Scaled and Icy. So there were a lot of things that could have gone over the bishops' heads.
Right, and we don't know how long he's been in correspondence with the Neds either. So we don't know how long he's been working with that side.
Oh, Ned Fonko, I think we've talked about this. Oh, the hazmat mask.
Product placement.
It
The
is
hazmat mask,
interesting.
we've touched on that.
Did we?
Well, I mentioned it, but we didn't discuss it.
I mean, you brought up a point that the hazmat mask looks like it's black instead of the normal white.
Yeah, it's usually white and red. The ones that they wear in the Lane Boy video are white and red.
Yeah.
And the one in the cabin in Christmas Saves the Year is white and red, but this one's black.
Like, because it's dark, I feel like it could just be
It's
really,
definitely
really
black.
dark.
No, because look at the things around it. Look at how the light's reflecting. It's black.
So that is interesting. I
You'd
mean,
see,
they would have to prepare like another 3D model of the hazmat suit that up until this point was white, unless there's
Because
something
if that was
missing in the
white, it
visuals.
would be reflecting white. Look at the books on the bookshelf; they're white. It's definitely black. It's not. It's reflecting colors off of it because it's black.
Another thing that's kind of unrelated, but I do want to bring up, is that, like, you know, I said that there are a couple of ways to tell the story of Dema. So, like, Christmas Saves the Year is a completely different way. Like, instead of Dema and the bishops, we get these, like, characters of, like, Santa Claus and, like, the rabbit and, like, the bear and what we see to tell that same story. This Santa person is supposed to supposedly represent Tyler. It is interesting that, first of all, there are bottles on the floor. Like, it goes back to that redecorate line. I think that's the one line that didn't make it into redecorate, but we saw it in the, like, extra lyrics thing, the, like, 3D room with all the extra lyrics. He said in redecorate, he stares at the bottle, kind of correlating to Good Day when he talked about, like, my sunshine is a buzz and a light, kind of imagining using alcohol and stuff like that as a coping mechanism. So it is interesting that they would incorporate that here. Like, all of the broken bottles, all the bottles that are there. There's also lunch that's empty.
Yeah, that is definitely interesting. I hadn't noticed that before. I think there's also the box. We should talk about the box and the jumpsuit medallion. I wonder what's in that box. For anyone who doesn't necessarily know, the jumpsuit medallion is on the side of the box that Ned's foot is on. You can see it when he walks away, when he leaves the room.
Let me just look for that
The
slide.
jumpsuit medallion is a bird's eye view of Trench. It's a map. It shows the stream, it shows the valleys. Yeah, it's essentially a map of the valleys in the mountains.
It's also like, it's been a part of many visuals, especially in the Trench era. I think Connie and I were just looking at the visuals where there's like an eye and a jumpsuit medallion is there as like a part of the eye. Like, I think that it's there a lot of times to like represent hope.
Yeah.
Like somewhere to escape to. I think.
And it really does fit the shape of an eye. And it goes into the concept of Trent being a place that's in a world of dreams, you know, that kind of exists behind your eyes, like in your imagination.
Oh my god, like that makes me think about that shy away shot. That's very, very intentional, but it only lasts like a couple of seconds, where there's just like a zoom in on Tyler's eye as it all comes crashing down.
So someone said there could just be a green trench jacket in there, or the antlers.
Oh,
they could.
That would make a lot of sense.
I'm really curious about what's in that box. It's the way he's kind of almost guarding the box. It's not like
I almost
it's
want
not
to
like
go
it's
back
hidden,
to
but it's the way
Heavy
he's
Dirty
leaning
Soul
on it.
and like look if we can see like where he grabs that jacket from. We know it's from the trunk, but can we see exactly? Like, I don't think we can.
I just think that he keeps this box very close to him. He's not hiding it, but he's keeping it close to him. It's obviously something important that he needs to have out and needs to have easy access to.
So you can see exactly where he pulls that jacket from, and it doesn't look like a box. I think we can set that theory.
It's kind of just in the boot of the car. Considering we were just talking about the jumpsuit medallion, I should read out the description of that logo. So the description is an aerial perspective of the world of Trench. This map helps us find our way as we face our journey alone. Amidst great solitude, this circular figure becomes our guide and our companion. You know what that reminds me of? Ned will show us the way.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of whole thing about like Ned showing the way. If that logo is associated with Ned, that makes a lot of sense.
That will make sense with his metaphor because he's Tyler's creative process.
Yeah. The idea that Ned will show us the way and the concept of creating being like a saving grace.
Yeah.
You know, like Tyler creating music and it kind of helping him and all that. That also goes along with the new merch that says that it's all like a subjective experience and that the neurological expansion device doesn't work for everything. They're kind of advertising Ned as this character who will show us the way and who will help you get out of Trench. He'll save you, but it doesn't work for everyone.
But I am confused.
And that also goes along with we'll win, but not everyone will get out.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. But I thought the jacket, doesn't it say that about telekinesis or does it say that about Ned? I think it talks about the telekinesis ability not applying to everyone, which...
But it's more about Ned as a character who is telekinetic. I need to reread what it says.
Yeah, I don't know. But if it does like talk about telekinesis, then that would just imply what we already know, that Tyler is the only one that can use the seizing ability. It won't work for everyone.
There's a couple of comments I haven't read. There's so many directional things to balance. The jumpsuit medallion, Ned, East is up. Absolutely. There is so much kind of hidden stuff that we don't necessarily know what it means. That was one of our recurring themes that we talked about before. The walls in Ned's cabin, they don't look like just a cabin. It looks like a bunch of wood pallets that have been stuck together. It reminds me of all the kind of debris.
I feel like Ned is a builder. He built this whole thing himself. He's kind of talented.
Yeah.
I mean, we were just talking about how Ned could have built the cages that Tyler and Josh wear in the outside music video.
Yeah, no, genuinely. Because the Neds live by themselves and they're primitive.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely could have built
but I don't know if they were
inspired
cages.
by this cage.
They were cages, but they were like crab trap type things.
Yeah, but the thing is,
crab trap type things that you catch crabs in.
They were made out of bones, like something that you could find in the woods. Like in the outside video, they showed like a Ned skull and like some bones. So yeah, that's
Ned skull.
Yeah, there was a Ned skull in one of the trees. It was kind of sad.
Oh no.
There's a Ned skull in the outside visuals for the IC tour, I'm pretty sure.
That's so sad.
Honestly, that is sad. I don't want Neds to die.
No.
Everyone dies, I guess. Even Neds.
Even Neds. They're supposed to show us the way, not die.
Do you remember that time when everyone like asked Mark how Neds procreate or something like that, and he had to reply that they're asexual? That was a weird time. Do you not remember that?
Wait, someone literally...
Actually, I might be delusional because I can't find any evidence of this happening, but I remember it, but it literally doesn't exist anywhere. Like, I can't find it. I've tried. Yeah, maybe I'm just a liar. He replied on Twitter to someone saying that he thinks that Neds are asexual.
I mean, maybe.
We forgot to talk about a few things, right? We talked about the like clues that we can see like in the background and stuff. We talked a little bit about the timestamps, 5/17, the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. May 17th theory.
But there are videos that we can see in the TV screen, right? And I think there's the Christmas Saves the Year video, just to recap. There's the jumpsuit music video. Then there's the stressed out like behind the scenes BTS footage. And the ride behind the scenes footage, which which I don't think we've seen before. I'm not sure. Then at the very end of the live stream, there's the video with the torches. And I discovered today that video is actually the My Blood visuals from 2018. If I could just put that in here. What do you mean,
I remember
we
that.
talked about this.
Sorry, it just clicked. My brain was lagging.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, that's the visuals for My Blood from 2018. Like the visuals not for the tour, for the actual song. You know how each song has like a visual that they posted online.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because My Blood has a music video, then I couldn't find this visual on their actual YouTube channel, but it is on the Level of Concern drive, the 21st one.
Which is the one that you got after you got the USB.
Yeah, I feel like it would be
What
interesting.
other clues do we have that we haven't gone over?
I think we've gone through all of the ones that I wrote down, but I think there are more that I just like.
I'm going to check my doc.
Yeah, I'll check the doc too.
See if there's anything we've not mentioned.
Oh, there's the whole thing. I think you said that at first of like, if you look closely at the fire, is there a chance that it looks kind of like the bishops? Like the bishops are burning?
That was just my first perception of it when I couldn't see what the video was because it was so pixelated. And I thought I could see red in there, but
yeah, I do think that's very far-fetched, but our theory goes, I mean, we think the bishop's weakness is fire, right? That's why the whole gas thing and choking on smoke, right?
Yeah, I wasn't theorizing when I said that. That was just what I thought I was looking at.
Oh, so
it was just so hard to tell. Oh yeah, we didn't specifically mention, I don't think we went over it properly. I just wanted to say that when we said that the songs were all in tracklist order other than Christmas Saves the Year, so we start with Fall Away, which is obviously a self-titled song, and then we go on to the Vessel tracks. We skip original at best because there's a lot of similarities
maybe
between
we don't
the two.
skip,
and I
because
think
we can like think of Car Radio and Guns for Hands entries like regional best tracks.
Yeah,
well.
but I just think they're combined because they're at their sister album. So we got 3 tracks off Vessel, then we got 5 tracks off Blurry Face. They're all in order. So like you have 2, 3, 5, 6, 14, and then Heathens because it's a single, and then Trench. We have 5 albums again, all in order. Then Level of Concern, and then Scaled and Icy is where the tracklist order breaks because they have tracks 3, 4, and 5, but they're in order 3, 5, 4. But they're still chronologically making sense because it puts Saturday before the Outside, which it is before the Outside in terms of music videos.
Exactly.
But their tracklist order is the other way around, which makes you wonder why they made them that way around on the album, because everything about them suggests that Saturday comes first.
I still feel like because this tracklist is very specific, there could be something else in here that we're missing. Like I remember when we first saw this. First of all, Fall Away being second. I mean, I guess that will make sense because you put self-titled first, but then why would you put Christmas Saves the Year?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just to do with it being Christmas.
I mean, that's the thing. Does it mean something or does it not mean something? If it doesn't mean something, then they could put it as,
I also think that Clifford is going to be part of the plan because, I mean, obviously Goner and the whole open birdcage, and the drawings on the wall, one of them is an open birdcage and then another one of them is just like a vulture by itself.
I think that it's interesting how Tyler first described vultures in Dema, because we see vultures as a symbol of death and like maybe surveillance, right? Because the bishops are using them supposedly to spy on the residents of Dema. But when Tyler first described, like, I remember him describing the vultures in interviews, saying that they are the only thing that can leave Dema and come back as like a hopeful thing. That the Dema residents look at the vultures as like, wow, maybe I could escape like them someday.
Yeah.
So it is interesting how Tyler often has like 2 contrasting meanings to one concept and one thing. So that could, like with what you said about Clifford being a part of the next chapter, maybe Clifford could help their escape somehow.
Yeah, maybe they can seize him and use him as surveillance.
I mean, that is interesting that the bishops used vultures as like surveilling on the banditos, and now the banditos could possibly use the vultures to look at the bishops.
I think we've gone over everything that I've written notes for as well.
Okay, about the next era, I think that we should like wrap it up. Like, where do you think we're going to be headed? Maybe like in terms of the next clue, the next single. Like, what are your thoughts or predictions?
I would say that I feel like the next... I actually wrote something down, but I'm not going to explain it just because of how far-fetched it is. I'm simply going to say, I wrote down in my notes app, March 30th/31st, 21 Pilots single. If I'm right about that, then I'll explain. But I'm not going to be right.
Oh my god, know what? I think that you're gonna be right, because I thought like March
I
makes
don't
sense
think.
for a single. I think you're gonna be right.
Yeah,
I think you're gonna be right.
Well, we'll see. I highly doubt it because of how much of a stretch it was.
I do think that if we're going to go into our theory about how the story is going to end, right? And like I haven't even talked about like the theories that I've been talking to you about like on WhatsApp and how the story is going to end. Like in terms of like who will get out and the cycle, right? I don't know, I'm being ominous, but like I don't know how to explain it right now. But like I feel like that would be interesting if we were to really get into it before the new era starts. Like we'll explain everything and we'll just like build off an entire ending by ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, we've kind of have it. We have most of it figured out the way that we see it and how it's going to end.
Yeah, everything we've theorized over there's definitely not been anything to suggest that we're wrong.
Yeah.
There's only been things to suggest that we'll be right.
Exactly. And I mean, I don't think that it's something that like is secret and no one else will think it. Like, it's definitely something that is apparent in all of their music videos and stuff. And like, I feel like if we just found a way to make an entire episode and just like explain it fully and like how we see it and how we envision it.
Do we think that Dema will be rebuilt as a bandito town? What do you think?
That's the whole thing, because there's the whole concept of destroy and rebuild, right? But that interferes with the cycle. So you could say they would break the cycle. But then Tyler always, if you look at the Heavy Dirty Soul music video, if you look at the live stream experience, if you look at the Jumpsuit Nico and the Niners Levitate trilogy, if you look at all of those, and I'm sure there will be more examples, like this story is a cycle. And yes, Tyler talks about how to break them and that you could eventually get out, but I do think that it's going to end as a cycle as well. And I think that the silver lining in that, because let's say that Tyler does escape, let's say that they do burn down the city of Dema, let's say all of that happens, right? But then the next day starts and it resets. Because that's the concept of like March to the Sea, which I've always very closely linked to the Dema story. Like I think that's where it stemmed from. Like when I listen to that song, that's what I envision in my head. And especially it talks about the same ideas of like picturing your mind.
I can't help thinking it's going to end sadly or that the cycle will continue. Yeah, that's exactly right. I agree with you both.
The silver lining in that is that every day is a new beginning and every day is a chance to escape again. I don't think Tyler's going to give up. I just think that it's going to reset. And I do think that where the story is leading is like if you look at the Heavy Dirty Soul music video, Tyler's back in the car at the end of it. If you look at the trilogy, Tyler's getting dragged back to Dema. And if you look at the live stream experience, Tyler is the only one that like goes back to the beginning. Also, if you look at the posters for the live stream experience, you can see Tyler by himself and Josh like representing trash, like something that might save him.
Yeah, I think the thing with whether Dema would be rebuilt as a bandito town, I don't know about that, because the thing is, they wouldn't need to be banditos as such anymore if they didn't have the threat there anymore, because the whole point in the color yellow is that the bishops can't see it and that it's a sign of rebellion. But if they get rid of the threat, they have nothing left to rebel against.
I think that
they wouldn't need to brand themselves in the same way.
I think that there definitely could be a balance, though. If they're just talking about vialism, about destroying vialism, discarding the old rules and the old religion and building a new one, essentially.
I don't know if they would necessarily kill all the bishops, defeat all the bishops, because if we look at them as what they are, which is a metaphor for like mental health issues, insecurities, all the kind of negative things, you can't just kill them. They can't just go away.
Yeah, that's another
you
question.
Can make them your prisoner to show that
can the bishops really die?
No, like you can maybe have control of them rather than letting them have control over you. Maybe we're just going to see the kind of flipping of sides. Maybe they're going to become the prisoners.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
That would be interesting. Where I was going with the whole like Tyler thing is that I do think that he's not gonna end up escaping. Like from just like watching the Choker video as well is another example of him not escaping in the end.
Yeah.
All of these examples, Heavy Dirty Soul, the trilogy, everything of him not escaping in the end. It's foreshadowing, but it's not. I don't think that the message would be that he will stay in Dema forever. I think that the message will be that when it resets again, he will still try to escape. Just like in March to the Sea, the story of Dema, because people think about the Lord just as the story of Dema, but the story of Dema is built off of the story of Tyler and Josh. Like there's no like separating them.
Do you think that the kind of destruction of Dema is going to take place on the day of the glorified or whatever it's called, the annual assemblage of the glorified.
Definitely could
Do you think
be.
that's going to be when they're going to strike? It would be like
I
a
mean,
very climatic ending.
It would make sense because they apparently have that like every year. So it will make sense. The Saturday music video was the last annual assemblage of the glorified, and there will be another one, and maybe that is when the war would happen. Yes.
Wait, the Saturday music video was the assemblage of the glorified?
Yeah, it says that in the Clancy letter.
I was always picturing it being like this whole thing where everyone has to like crowd in the metropolis and they just start sacrificing people.
Well, no, it's kind of like a celebration. They like celebrate the death of all the
People who have been sacrificed.
Yeah.
I think I was linking it to about this time of every year the line will go to the ocean pier. I always assumed that like that linked to there being a day of each year where they specifically sacrificed a bunch of people.
Oh, that's interesting.
Who would walk right off into
I
the sea.
didn't think of that. Maybe there's also a day where that happens.
See, the spaceship in the sky, he was already kind of expanding into the sci-fi metaphorical side of it. Like, it started out as a spaceship and now it's like a dragon,
Yeah, it started as a voice in his head.
Yeah, a voice inside his head and a spaceship in the sky. And now we've got a dragon that can be possessed by spiritual, biblical, evil entities.
I mean, it's definitely progressed. I'll tell you that much. It's definitely progressed. There's a lot to talk about. I think that if we were to make an episode about how it would possibly end, and like even if we weren't right about it, like we'll just make our own theory and like explain it fully. I think that would be a really, really interesting episode. But the next one is going to be with Sophie.
Should do live.
Connie, we didn't address Sophie not being here at the beginning of the thing.
Oh my god.
I feel bad.
We forgot.
We didn't address it, but it was on my mind, okay? We miss you, Sophie. Sophie's going to be with us in the next episode, and we're going to do a whole thing.
She couldn't make it today because we had to change the day, but I also don't think she had a lot to say about the fireplace. We kind of threw this one in because it happened.
Oh, definitely. That was not our plan for today. That's for sure.
It wouldn't have been, because it wouldn't have existed.
Yeah, we were scrambling. We were definitely scrambling. But it just felt more relevant to talk about this.
We just wanted to talk about this.
Sophie will be here. In the next episode, we'll talk a little bit about what the lore means and what even is the lore, how we would define it. And like, we'll answer Sophie's questions, and Sophie will be kind of a host, and it'll be fun.
Yeah, she's going to host us and interview us. It's going to be an interesting vibe going on.
Unless you have something to add.
Well, thank you to the people who came along.
Thank you so much, people.
Yeah. For sharing your thoughts as well. That made up for like a really nice thing, because we didn't want to just talk outwardly. We wanted it to be a discussion, and that's what it was. So yeah, I'm happy with this episode. Thank you to people coming along.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, this is a weekly thing. So either Friday or Saturday or Sunday next week, we're going to. Did we decide on a day?
I would assume Friday.
Probably Friday.
So if you can only do Fridays.
Yeah, okay, probably Friday.
Yeah.
We're going to do the next episode. Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, wait, I feel like the Be Right Back screen didn't get like enough screen time today.
Are you going to end with the Be Right Back screen?
I'm kind of obsessed with it. So we're not leaving for good. We'll be right back, but we're actually leaving for good. We're leaving for good. Don't stay. But we'll be right back. Bye.